number one Palestinian objective is to destroy the state of Israel. So this is one where you make a fool out of yourself if you try to make believe you support both, because one calls for the annihilation of the other. It must be so much easier for Bibi to be back in office with a president that he meets with, and I don't know if he was ready for the recommendation he made today. He should have given a hint of it. I mean, very often he gives hints of recommendations. In advance, he did give a hint that he wanted Palestine out of Gaza. I mean, he said that a few days ago. He said it in a way that to me sounded more serious than just a trial balloon, but it could have been just a trial balloon. Today, it became a lot more than a trial balloon. It became a policy of the president of the United States. But he added on to it something quite dramatic that no one was anticipating, which is why he's so good at this. And when you reflect on it, the minute after you reflect on it, you say to yourself, it starts to make a lot of sense, doesn't it? So the question is, what do you do with Gaza? If you give it back to Hamas, you've accomplished nothing but delaying another attack on Israel for 3 or 4 years. If you get rid of Gaza, but you give it to the Palestinians, I mean, if you get rid of Hamas and you give it to the Palestinians, Hamas can be back in control, or some other terrorist group like the Islamic Jihad, or Iran would make sure of that. Iran would go create a terrorist group to put them back in there. So he says the United States is going to take it. Ha! Wow. I mean, there was only one question about it, actually, by one reporter that seemed to, I wouldn't even say shocked. I mean, the voice was sort of in shock as opposed to shocked that can the Americans just take it? Kind of trying to create this colonist attitude about it. Then he just answered it very matter of factly, well, I don't think he even answered it. He just said, what a great place to develop. I think he's pretty on his developer hat. But here, you want to look at the map? You'll see why this is a desirable place. Now, it's not now. I mean, it's all bombed out. And for the last 15 years, it's been a fortress. The last time I saw it, I was about right here. Yeah, outside about right here. They had a missile sentry about right there, and they were shooting this way. And I was there with the Iron Dome contingent, and so I mean it's been a place that has gotten a fortune over the years, enough money where I often say it could be another Monaco. I think that's what he's thinking. We put so much damn money into it, we could have made it a great resort area 10 times over. So he wants America to take it over, and we'll practice our own form of DEI. The diversity will be a lot of people, not just the Palestinians will be able to live there. Israelis, Arabs, Americans. I bet he's got dreams of beautiful hotels on the beach, right? Or back from the beach. I mean, he could do a recreation of Palm Beach there. When you think Gaza, think burned out place. If you got to the beach on Gaza and you didn't look back, you just looked straight ahead, you'd be at Palm Beach, or you'd be at Miami Beach, or you'd be at Hawaii, or you've got a great beach. story,
Right.
the Gaza, whatever.
Right. So, man, what would you say? We were able to watch
Most of it.
most of it. I know, during your 7 o'clock show featured on Lindell TV, the Rudy Giuliani show. What were your key takeaways? What kind of?
My key takeaway was one. I wanted to see how committed is he to Gaza not being controlled by the Palestinians. Of course, he made that clear by upping it. His original statement that they should be basically thrown. I'm saying it the way his enemies characterize it, but that Palestinians should be thrown out of Gaza, which could have been a throwaway line or a trial balloon. I wanted to see if that was going to be clear. Well, it was more than clear. He upped it one to we're going to take it over. I've never heard that before. I haven't heard anyone ever say that before. I think once he says it and you think about it, so from his point, that it's all plus from the Arab point of view, but not on the surface. They play a two-tier game with Gaza. They make believe they support the Palestinians, and they won't let them in that country. I mean, they really like to be. So I thought that was a big piece of news and a real possibility of pushing to a new level in the Middle East. But also critical to that is you could straighten out Gaza and you're still not going to have peace as long as the Islamic Republic of Iran is alive, because their main mission is to create an atmosphere in which it is conducive to destroy the state of Israel. So how are you going to have peace if you've got Iran there as a big player becoming a nuclear power that wants to destroy Israel? So I thought with the statements that Trump has made about no nuclear power for Iran, and with the delivery of the bunker buster bombs that are capable of taking out, I believe, every one of the nuclear networks in Iran, and with our sort of tolerating or agreeing with or the missions that Israel made to retaliate against Iran, which were all very strategic. They were almost like intelligence missions to scope out where the sites were for the nuclear facilities. I thought we were very close to Israel bombing all those facilities and setting them back as a nuclear power. And I think Israel was going to do the dirty work, and we were going to supply the arms and maybe some of the expertise. I didn't hear much tonight about it that would give you a hint of how close we are to that, except one thing that suggests we're not as close as I would like us to be. And that is when he went out of his way, when the president went out of his way to emphasize that he hasn't given up on peaceful solution to the Iranian problem. What does that mean? A peaceful solution to the Iranian problem means negotiating. And I kind of thought he was over that. But he may be, and this could be a feint. At the same time, he could be playing for some time and not want to move immediately to a military action against Iran, or what I thought he was moving toward, which is empowering Israel to do the dirty work, as we've done time and again, but at least being there in a supportive capacity as opposed to criticizing the way our government has done for the last 3 or 4 years. Israel has accomplished miracles without the support of the United States and with their reprimand, actually. So that one is up in the air. Quite honestly, I'm more confused now than I was going in about where we are on taking out Iran's nuclear capacity. Going in, I was pretty sure we're a few weeks away from it. With the comments where he threw this new concept on the table, which could have also been done to distract a little from the Iranian thing, that is taking over Gaza. And then the one time he was asked, he did say he would prefer a peaceful solution. Kind of strange to be saying that on the eve of bombing them or several weeks before bombing them. But that is not dispositive. He could have just dropped it as a line anyway without a connection. But up until now, I thought we were real close. Now I have to step back and say, at least there are some signals that we're not. And if you want my opinion is it should be done sooner rather than later. It becomes easier. I mean, every day they're preparing for it. Every day they're reducing their casualty rate by doing that. I think it's about time that we do it. But we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
It's not connected.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. And don't forget, get your Rudy's coffee. Rudy.coffee. Great coffee. At the same time, we're in a new year. When's the last time you upped your membership in T2T.org? T2T.org, $11. I don't know if the ad's been on yet. It will be. By the time if we haven't had the ad on yet, why don't you do it when the ad comes on? And then you can say, Giuliani, I already did it. Shut up. We do the T2T ad yet?
That's the one we didn't do.
Okay, well, we're going to do it because between now and then, they're going to contribute. And when I come on, they're going to say, shut up. I already did it. Right. Why don't you keep your mouth shut, dope? Right. Well, the reason is I'm trying to get other people to do it, so don't be so smart. Right. So, nominations have been going on, somewhat obscured a bit by the fires and now by Israel, right? So where are our important nominees? I get a feeling, I hope I'm not being overly optimistic. I think this is a fair statement, and I hope they don't get upset because I love all of them and I'm for them. I think they're sneaking through. I think that let me see the order in which I would put it that they're going to make it. I think Kash has got the best. It's going to be real close, but I would put it Kash, RFK Jr., and Tulsi.
RFK Jr. made it out of the committee vote. The 14 Republicans voted to confirm Kennedy. 13 Democrats opposed it, but he had enough to get out of the Senate Finance Committee vote, and now will be before the full Senate. So that's the key hurdle.
So he's
for
gonna
RFK
he's gonna use the senator from Red China, McConnell, who will vote against him.
And the Senate Intelligence Committee advanced Tulsi Gabbard's nomination to become the next director of national intelligence.
McConnell's going to vote against her too.
That was a 9-8 vote.
Yeah, also party line. Isn't that amazing that they were both Democrats and they couldn't get a single Democrat vote? But you would expect that, I guess, in a way, because the Democrats consider them traitors, as we would, I guess. I don't consider them traitors. I consider them like me. I was a Democrat. I consider them people who have grown up a little later than I did, but they grew up.
And Democrats want a second hearing for Kash Patel.
I want a second hearing.
So he's still waiting to get through the judiciary.
Why don't they just push it to the floor and say, screw you?
That's what the Republicans should do. They don't have to do the second hearing, right?
Yeah, but is Thune any tougher than
That's what I'm saying.
than Red McConnell?
And they're already allowing them to win the media war, right? Just the idea that these headlines, Senate Judiciary Democrats eager for a second hearing. They want a second hearing. All the Republicans have to do is say,
gee, we won the
too
election.
bad.
You
What-
don't
yeah.
get one.
What do you want a second hearing for? What didn't you ask him in the first one?
Yeah. How about
What
you
is wrong
propose
with
2 or 3 questions and we'll answer them in writing?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait. We all know what this is.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we found somebody from 64 years ago that you sexually assaulted her. He wasn't born 64 years ago. Oh, no. There's a woman in Peoria, Illinois, who says that she has Cash's child. Oh, when did she meet Kash? She can't remember. Can she pick him out of a lineup? No. How many times has she made claims like this that weren't true? 14. That's what they got, right? That's what they've been doing lately. They always come. The last one always is a sexual harassment complaint that isn't true.
Right.
That's the Democrat. I hate to compare it to Hail Mary and say a Hail Mary pass, but that's their Hail Mary pass. It's actually their wild, crazy, as you're getting knocked out, useless punch.
Right.
You know, that one of those.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're not. It sounds like I thought I read. Although today is only right. Today's only Tuesday, right?
Yeah. That's isn't it? Not that is crazy.
No, I only say that because I thought I heard that Kennedy doesn't go to the floor until next week. What are they taking a week off to get ready to the Super Bowl?
Right. Yeah.
The Congress has got to get ready to the Super Bowl. They have. I mean, they've been in session for a week and a half. My God, they must be exhausted. This is the longest period, I think.
That's a lot of work for these guys.
Oh man, they could probably be. Hope that's not on our side. That kind of work, you can get a heart attack. Some of them had to work like late at night. They don't even work late at night. They sit in their chambers, sleeping or watching TV.
It's weird. They made this big deal about sleeping at the office.
Some of them chasing their interns around. And
some being generous, Mayor.
And then
I
they get
on the hill. I was on the hill.
And then they get a buzz, and they're all late for the vote, even though they have a train.
Yeah. Don't they start Tuesday?
They got a kiddie car to take them.
They have
That kiddie cars.
They have kiddie cars.
I tell you that those things. Kids love those things. If you have a kid and you want to go on a tour of the White House, and you're not, and we're there now, so you won't be arrested for insurrection.
Capitol.
Yeah, if you want to go to
tours.
a tour of the if you want to go on a tour
Senate side.
want to go on a tour of the White House, it's a lot more interesting. But if you want to go on a tour of the Capitol, you got to go. Do they include the tunnel subways as part of the official tour of the Capitol?
It's not.
I mean, a time
You got to know. You got to have the right guy.
I think that's right. Because
someone that'll take you
I
over.
know every time one of them says to me, like I've never done it before. I started doing it in 1974. Or take a tour of the subways. I can go on the subways. I'd say,
You're on the Senate side.
I'd say either one. Because even the
There was one on the House side.
yeah.
Only one of the buildings.
Yeah. I would take a tour of the. Go on. I've been there before. They're really not that impressive.
Yeah, they're right. They're on like little.
They are, but you know when they're impressive,
They're
you got a
not.
kid. If
Yeah, a
you,
little kid
if
loves
you've
that,
got
yeah.
somebody, even a teenager type, or how about this? Not just a kid. Anybody who's never done it. 70-year-olds and you've never done it. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's the Senate.
After that,
it's the Capitol building.
after that, it's oh boy.
Oh, now what I got to show you?
It's
Yeah.
kind of exciting.
And also, when they knock you over, because they're late, they don't really give a damn who you
They're
are.
not wait. Yeah, and
Unless if you're important, they stop me, kiss your ass.
It's funny to think though when you're in those cars, how many people have been blackmailed sitting right in those trolleys.
How many have Lyndon
been
Johnson giving cash
bribes?
to?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I need you. I need your vote. What do you think? How many have been talking on the cell phone to Bill Clinton while Bill Clinton was, you know what? You know the congressman that were talking to Bill Clinton and Bill was making little funny noises like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Wonder why.
It's good to be president.
Well, it depends on what you define as good. So, New York.
That's what he's thinking. While he's making the noises.
I'm sorry. The New York Post says that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is absolutely unfit to head the Department of Health and Human Services.
Well, sounds like who is this? The Post? The New York Post.
I think this is the New York Post. I think it's an editor. He's absolutely unfit. You got a waste paper basket I can try my jump shot on?
Behind you.
Right here.
You can test your
right
dump.
here, right here.
Gotta make a hook shot, right?
Right here, right
Where?
here.
It was a blind shot. You can't expect that to. And after all, I'm a Knicks fan. You don't. The Knicks. Oh, by the way, I despite the fact that I constantly make fun of the Knicks out of tremendous depression because I want them to be good. They're in second place right now to the Celtics, only about a game behind, and they've got about the 5th or 6th best record in the NBA. Just catching you up. I don't know. This guy, he should spread these out more because this way, eventually we're going to have nothing to close down. Right? Every day. I mean, I would spread this out all the way to Christmas. He could do it, but don't tell us yet. It's just like you have something to celebrate every day. So today, he's going to close. He's closing door on USAID staffers. They all received an email on Monday telling them to stay out of the agency's headquarters. The U.S. is the largest funder of foreign and international aid, and he wants to stop. Now, I already see a little. State Department trying to undercut the president. It's already happening, and I hope Rubio, I hope Marco, who I really like very much. I hope he's a really shrewd guy. I mean, after all, he's not from New York, so. One never knows. The president wants to get rid of USAID. He started talking about, well, we're going to reform it. You got to read the article by a great genius who said the best way to cut out government overreach and government overfunctioning, and in this case, government support of communism and enemies of the United States, get rid of the function. Get rid of the function, not just the person. Get rid of the function. Because the minute the function is there, they'll find a way to go around you. For 6 months, they won't give the money. They won't give the money to our enemies. And then when you're not looking, they will. And they'll slip somebody in there. It's too big a government to watch everything. Safest way from the point of view of our deficit, so you can really count it out into ad infinitum. And number two, to really discipline the situation, get rid of the function. We do not need a USAID. We give out plenty of money a lot of other ways. This has turned out to be a scam from both a political and a corruption point of view. And Rubio saying or mumbling that we'll look at other ways, to do it. We'll just stop what we're doing. That comes from bad advice from the State Department. And Marco's got to realize he's got a bunch of anti-American swine working for him. Worse than, is it worse than the Justice Department? Treasury's better. Commerce is better. The Pentagon may not be better, but easier to fix because it's military. And when you give an order, it works better. Used to. Now I'm giving you my old experience with the Pentagon before it was woked. Having been woked, it may become more difficult to manage. I don't know. But I always considered justice and state the two most difficult to run. If you go to some of the left-wing agencies, the ones that give away money, you're ready for it. They're a bunch of left-wing loony birds, right? So you got to manage them that way. But you don't expect it in the State Department and Justice Department. And it's not always there. Well, State Department's always there. Justice Department's not. So I will say now, having thought it out, the State Department's the worst. Because the Justice Department in the modern era has gone through periods where it was really first rate. And then it slips. First rate and it slips. I don't know when the State Department was good. I mean, and I don't know what president ever really. The presidents usually end up being enemies of the State Department and the CIA, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. And the CIA, in a way, you can understand, and you go in knowing it's got to be very tough to manage a bunch of spies. State Department aren't spies. They're diplomats, supposed to represent the interests of the United States. And they so quickly become ideologues. And at best, what you get at them is they represent the interests of the country they represent and not the United States. And here's the thing that makes me feel a little nervous at an early stage. Justice got off to a great head start. Even before Pam Bondi got there, and in order to save her the residual bad will of having to fire everybody, they got rid of a lot of crap real quick. The acting either attorney general or deputy attorney general was firing people left and right, and he was getting the FBI to do it. So they have fired a lot of the people that had to be fired. That produced a lot of resignations that wouldn't have taken place, that haven't happened in the State Department. And then they moved into the FBI and cleaned that out before Kash gets there. So they can do the follow-up, maybe the tougher ones, and the follow-up clean-out job. But both of those agencies have to be cleaned out, and there can be no leftovers from the prior administration. And if somebody claims who worked for the prior administration or in a J6 case, I really didn't believe in it, then say, well, what were you, a Nazi prison guard? Out. You mean you worked and you didn't believe in it? That's not the way government service works. Sorry. You got your own conscience. If you don't know how to exercise your own conscience, you don't belong being a public servant. That's the way I feel about the FBI agents. If he were to fire every single FBI agent that had participated in one of those raids where they were carrying machine guns to a white-collar arrest, I would say fair. These guys are guys and women are college graduates. They're adults. They have the power to kill you in their hands. And if they can't make the judgment that it's immoral and a violation of conscience to be dressed up like Gestapo when you're arresting Peter Navarro, or some guy like Roger Stone, and he's got young kids there, and you're scared the shit out of them, dressed up like Gestapo, well, then you shouldn't be part of the FBI. Go find something else to do. Go be an accountant, or I don't know, be a referee who only calls penalties in favor of Kansas City, like they have in the NFL. Isn't that proven now? I thought there was an article I saw that
you're on that.
in the Times that there was proof
that what
that they were calling. They call some penalties against Buffalo, so they could have they could have Taylor Swift come to the Super Bowl with short outfits on, showing her legs.
That's what they were.
You see, she's dressing a little like a. Post has had 2 pictures of her lately saying Kelsey must be getting jealous because since she's been engaged, or they're not married, are they yet?
No.
You sure? Didn't I cancel the Paris Accords when they gave him the executive order to cancel the Paris Accords? He said, "Can I just reiterate my prior signing of it?" We were out of it for 4 years. He made the Houthis. He made the Houthis terrorists. Biden de-terrorized them. He had to terrorize them again. That's only after they killed lots of people, including Americans. He what else? What else did he have to switch back? Well, USAID. He had gone away with USAID. He had gotten us out of the UN Relief Agency. They put us back in the UN Relief Agency. He took us out again. Had he taken us out of who? I don't remember. Oh, no. He stopped giving money to who? Biden, of course, gave money to who because they were covering up for him and for Fauci. So USAID offices are being shut down. Its future is uncertain, says the one of the newspapers. Yeah, right. Its future is very uncertain. Now, of all the people who have done a little bow, China is yelling and screaming, we'll sign that agreement now that we didn't sign back in 2020 on tariffs, and you liked it then. I'm going to see what Trump does on that one. Is he going to require more of them now or not? I'd have to. I only got this middle of the day, and I've been trying to look at what it entailed 4 years ago, and haven't been able to find it yet. But first of all, you got to look at this. First thing you do is you got to look at 4 years ago. You got to put it next to now, and you have to see where's the fine print here. What kind of changes have these scoundrels made? And number two, the world has changed a lot since then. Is this enough now? I don't know. I mean, they've had like 4 years with a president that was bought and paid for. So what did they get away with regard to tariffs? Now, very interestingly, because this can't be their number one priority. Very interestingly, Biden was not as tough as Trump on tariffs, but he wasn't a cave-in. I mean, they obviously regarded getting the Bagram Air Base closed more important, and it is more important than tariffs. And they regarded not being nailed for COVID or China virus more important, and it is. And they regarded really being left alone to frighten the living daylights out of Taiwan, which is more important. So on these tariffs, he did reduce them a bit, but he didn't really do away with them. Now, Trump is taking it back to the levels they were at 4 years ago, which had them in a deep bind, which is where they should be. Also, we concentrate a lot on TikTok as being a vehicle for China surveilling us. And please, Mr. President, don't go too far with this TikTok thing. Every day they operate, they collect information on us. I miss your logic on this one. I understand it might be important to preserve them as a First Amendment vehicle if we can separate them from China. But let's assume we do, but it takes us 6 months to do it. Is it worth it to allow them 6 more months of collecting data on us just to preserve them as a First Amendment vehicle when now we got plenty of others that could take over the function? I guess I'm telling you, this is the one thing that I probably disagree about. And I could be missing something. And I understand the First Amendment argument also. But I think this is so clearly a national security matter. It's so clearly, you can consider them a criminal organization in the way in which they're going about destroying your privacy in order to collect all kinds of, who knows what kind of information on you. That it should be one of a number of steps that we take to protect ourselves against China. And I also think the Congress finally did something right, and I give them a little tap on the back for it. And if we do find a way to save TikTok, it's got to be airtight. The disconnection with China has to be verified 5 times over, even more than the Hunter Biden hard drive. Well, there are 2 other very important apps. One of them I know, one I don't know. One I know because they drive me nuts, called Temu. Have you guys ever been solicited by Temu? I don't know how they got me, but at first I took it seriously, and it said Temu, like it's an alternative to Amazon. And I looked at it, and then it said, you won something. So I had to press a little thing, and it spun around, and I don't know what I won, a little keychain with a like a make-believe hammer on it.
Yeah. Okay.
It was worth about 2 cents.
Yeah.
This is like the kind of stuff China used to be known for when made in China was like a joke.
Yeah.
30 years ago, you'd go to the variety store, and for 2 cents, you'd get made in China, and you'd have it for 2 days, and it'd fall apart.
Right.
Well, Temu sells shit like this.
Yeah.
So, but it's become gigantic.
Yeah.
They're making a fortune with Temu, and Americans are buying this crap. And the stuff is falling, according to the report. The stuff is falling apart. The stuff is cheap shit. It isn't like the kind of stuff China is putting out. This must be the old people who used to make the cheap shit, make it on and send it through Temu. They've got all kinds of very, very misleading commercials that make you think you won some big prize, to suck you in. And on a commercial basis, they're a ripoff, and maybe should be taken off for that reason. But more important, they're collecting information like TikTok. Except they're collecting retail profiles of you and giving them to the Chinese Communist government directly, because they're owned by the Chinese Communist government, as is everything Chinese. They have a sister app called Shine, Shein. This one I am unfamiliar with, but they are essentially do the same thing. Shein? Someone's make it. They make it.
It's Shein.
Okay, well, if it's Shein, it sounds Irish, but it isn't. It's Chinese. And again, it collects data. In this case, they sell cheap clothes. Cheap, I think, women's clothes.
Probably also falls apart.
Now, here's what they get. They don't have to pay any tariffs, even the ones that exist now, and they won't have to pay the 10% tariff. Ha ha. Not with Trumpy. Trumpy is doing away with the $800 exemption. Got to pay a tariff on the first penny of anything that comes in from China. So now they're going to be hit with the new 20% tariff, plus whatever tariff there already is.
They're going to go out of business.
he's going to bust their balls completely.
Yeah.
And they're spies. Now, are they as big as TikTok? It could be that Temu. No, they're not anywhere near as ubiquitous as TikTok. I mean, TikTok is everybody. I mean, TikTok just keeps. The more you tell them that it's a Chinese spy, the more people. I mean, just they don't pay attention. What is it about TikTok that makes it so?
Yeah.
What is it? I mean, I've never been on it. So
Sure.
the only time I'm on it, I'm not on it when I see it on YouTube, or they sometimes they invade the other social apps, right? So
people will repost a video on Instagram.
well, you can get them on
so
X
you'll
too,
see
right?
it, or X. It'll say TikTok in the corner.
But they can't get anything from you by doing that.
No.
I don't think Elon will let them do it if they could.
No, unless they steal it.
Well, I mean, if exactly what do you have to do? If you have TikTok, you would have to have
People can
TikTok,
pull videos from TikTok, repost
but you'd have to
them.
have the TikTok to do that.
Yeah, presumably you'd have it on your.
Would you have to
device.
have the
Yeah.
app?
Presumably, yeah, to get the video.
Well, you say
Unless you got it
presumably.
from someone, unless
unless you got it from somebody
You
else.
mean you sent me one?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you sent me a
TikTok video that I
a
downloaded.
funny TikTok video.
But you
But
don't
some
have-
of them are quite, you
Yeah.
know, they're just
that
normal.
I saw on TikTok. I would then I would download it and then send it to you.
And then if I put it on
You-
X,
Yeah, then it's on X. It's no
neither
longer-
me nor the person on X would be subjected
Exposed
to the
to TikTok.
Chinese.
And it's just a
Right.
video.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's. I mean,
Yeah.
there are times I see TikTok, I just get right off, and then I ask somebody, and they say, "No, that's no danger. It's not if you're getting it
Yeah.
on X or you're
Yeah.
getting it on
Those are reposted videos
YouTube
from
or-
TikTok.
right." Okay.
At some point, it originated from TikTok.
Well, in any event, don't sign up for TikTok. Don't sign up for I'm going to tell you for sure, Temu is crap.
It is crap.
It's crap. And I think Shine or Sheen.
Shein.
I can't say Sheen. It's Irish.
It
What
sounds
what a bunch of scoundrels they are. The Chinese app tries to make it sound Irish.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Shein.
Oh, you can get good clothes on Shein if you don't care if they fall off the first time you wear them. Or how about when it rains
Some
out, they
people wouldn't
disappear.
mind that, right?
You go out in the rain and your clothes disappear.
Oh,
This is the old Chinese stuff. I mean, I wish you could go on.
As opposed to what the new stuff's better.
The Chinese now make much better products. They
Now, yeah.
they sort of move
I see
move
what
the
you're saying.
cheap products off to the other the other countries in
I see what you're
Southeast
saying.
They
Asia.
also had old warehouses that they had to, get rid of. the
Yeah,
crap and stuff.
yeah. I mean, they still can. Obviously, they still can make it. And who knows? It might not even be Chinese. They could be picking that stuff up in
Yeah.
Southeast
For a
Asia.
period of time, everything seemed to be made in China, but it was of very low quality.
Maybe it's-
And now everything made in China that's high quality was originally invented in America.
maybe they got North Korean slaves doing it in North Korea. Who knows? God only knows.
Yeah, it was funny talking to Allison last night from Vietnam, and you get an idea of how the non-Chinese in that area of the world hate them.
Yeah.
This is like 2,000 years of hatred.
Japan hates them too. I mean,
No, but Japan kills them also. They hate Japan because Japan is tougher than they are. I mean, it's ridiculous. Japan's this big. China's that big. And China just absolutely is fright. You say Japan, they go in the house. That's what Trump should do. He should say, see, I don't know. I don't think we're going to rearm. I think we're going to take all the money we're going to put in rearming. We'll give it to Japan. He would beg him. No, we'd rather fight you. We'd rather fight you. Please, can we fight you?
It's a very, very good point. I mean,
No, you're talking about even in ancient days, the Japanese warriors were so trained they could they could take out 100
they
people.
could, the samurais.
Yeah. China's never had that military
China
tradition.
tradition. Yeah, they.
When you think about it,
They
China
respect-
has even often been like,
more peace loving.
yeah, well, not peace loving.
I mean, it has at certain points.
Yeah, I mean they.
Hostile.
Yeah.
That's maybe the word.
And here they are,
Yeah, not
a
the
country that's
leadership.
one of the least military in the world,
The people,
and they're the
are
country
docile.
that has killed more of their own people than any other country,
Docile people is what.
which is why they get killed.
Yes.
Because when animals take over, they don't know how to fight back. They don't have their own guns. They don't have.
Or even
Well,
what did Mao do to his enemies?
I mean, it took me a while to figure out that gun control comes out of Karl Marx. So that, and whereas possession of guns comes out of the United States Constitution, out of a country that fought off a tyrant. Tyrants do not want you to have guns. Those who are not afraid of tyrants or not afraid of becoming a tyrant don't care if you have a gun, unless you're a bad guy. So our favorite South American leader now, Milei, has passed a bill allowing a lot more people in Argentina to have a gun. And they have gone back and forth, Argentina has, since Perón, with high crime or not. And a lot of their high crime equates to when they restrict guns.
Yeah.
And their professors and their experts have come to this conclusion. So the crooks in Argentina, of which there are many, and the Peronistas oppose this. They want the government to have the guns and the people to not have the guns so that they can go terrorize them anytime they want. And Milei has now opted for, if not universal gun ownership, something very close to it. And it's very popular.
Wow.
The people have come around to the idea in Argentina, given the fact that our governments can change a lot and they'll come in and try to shoot us, we have to have the ability to shoot them. Which is really why the founding fathers just assumed you'd have to have a right to have a gun. You're always subjected, no matter what, to tyranny, as we found out in the last 4 years, right?
Yes.
So this loophole, let me just go back and finish the thought about Shine. No, they're Irish. Shine from Red China and Temu from Red China are no longer going to have the $800 exemption. They're going to have to pay everything everybody else pays, which is going to take the products they're selling, the shit products they're selling to you for nothing, and they're going to have to sell it to you for something, and therefore you're not going to buy them. And they say they may go out of business. And if they don't go out of business, make it 30%.
Our friend Caitlin Sinclair, shout out to Caitlin. She's watching and she tells me I'm right. It's actually Shein.
I know you're right. I just don't want to call it that.
I just wanted to say hello to Caitlin.
Well, Caitlin, you keep telling him he's right. You're never going to be on the show again.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize this was
Caitlin
done
in
for a
trouble.
purpose.
Yeah.
We do not want to further the brainwashing here of calling something spelled H-E-I-N, Shein. It is obviously a communist trick. You tell me how you get the pronunciation Shein. That is S-H-E-I-N. Obviously, it's being done to fool the decent Irish American people who will think they're helping their foreland by buying it. And in fact, it's being sold by the red Chinese who are using it to help gather information for them. I'm surprised they call Temu. I'm surprised they don't call it Tomio. So you think it's from Italy or something.
Okay, this is from Caitlin. Okay, fine. Mayor is right. The commies cannot win. So you got Caitlin back on your side, Mayor.
No, it really is true. 5 years ago, everybody, if somebody said that to me, I'd have said, "You're absolutely out of your mind, Giuliani. What a jerk." Now, just come up with the most sinister, the most conniving explanation, and the Chinese communists did it. Because that's what they get by on. You see, they're not good people. I'm talking about the communists now, not the Chinese people. Please, don't play that game with me. I'm very aware of the fact that only less than 1/10 of China is communist, which makes them all millionaires and many times billionaires, which also makes them phonies, right? But they all were phonies. All the communist leaders were multi-millionaires. Because it's not really, it's in the long run, it's Nazism. Anybody who starts to make distinctions between Nazism and communism is a fool, because it's not about the arrangement of society. The arrangement of society is only theoretical. The arrangement of society in Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia was exactly the same. The people are slaves, and the party runs the country like much worse even than the royals and the noblemen used to run feudal Europe. And they use the whole thing to fool you into buying into that so that they can be very important, very rich, and have everything they want. That's not even a doubt.
So they like capitalism.
Not even a doubt.
But
Right.
only for them.
Now, how about this for thinking outside the box? Why did nobody else ever think of this, including me? Although I did think about loans. If we're going to give any more money to Ukraine, they're going to have to give us a lot of their rare earth and other rare minerals where we are at a disadvantage with China, because we're doing everything we can in America to mine these rare and trying to break down all of the communist-inspired green opposition to it. But that's going to take a while. They already have it, and they're into us for about $200 billion. That's a lot of rare crap you can get for it. So I think they should. I think I would add something to what the president's saying here. First of all, the president should come up with a list of what they owe us, right? Then he should come up with a list of how much how money was stolen. Now, Zelensky's already starting, I think, to protect his backside by accusing, strangely, that Americans were stealing money. Zelensky has said that in that aid, there was a lot of problems on the American side. I agree, because as I told you, when McConnell the Red said defending the Ukrainian money and defending Schumer, who was saying that it's going through the American military-industrial complex, and therefore it can't be stolen by Ukraine. McConnell came on and said the following: I'm very confident that it was not taken because it went through the American industrial military complex. You got that money from my father-in-law? Thanks. Okay. And then he stopped. Now, let me finish that out for you. You may be offended that I'm making fun of him. I'm not offended that I'm making fun of him because he's a son of a bitch. The guy has been taking money from his father-in-law, who is a sellout to Red China. Now, how is he a sellout? He's Taiwanese. He's the richest man, not the richest man. He's the richest shipbuilder in China. You cannot become the richest shipbuilder in China unless you sell out to them. Just like Tampon Tim couldn't have given 30 speeches there without being a communist. They're not going to let they're not going to let a loyal Taiwanese become one of the wealthiest men in China unless they're getting plenty from him. Now, who's getting the benefit of that? Senator Constipated McConnell. He's getting the benefit of it. And then what does he do as soon as he gets the money? Changes all his positions on China. Doesn't even have respect for us to do him slowly. And he was Trump's biggest enemy, right? And probably the Republican most knowledgeable about what really happened on January 7. So he's going to vote against all of the Trump nominees because he's a bitter old man who does or does not know where the hell he is. Another disgrace. So don't tell me I'm insensitive making fun of him. What the hell is he doing pulling down a government salary when he doesn't know who the hell he is and he can't talk? What the hell is the Senate? An old man's home?
He sounds like Kermit the Frog.
Maybe that should be straightened out too, particularly since they're very questionable. I mean, we can't get a majority for the president of the United States gets elected on a decisive victory as a Republican, and he's not going to get some people through because the McConnells of this world vote against him. What the hell's that about? So what he's come up with Ukraine is, I think, is very smart. And I think there should be a little back payment there. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, I'm not conversing with all of the rare minerals that you need with this new expanded energy production, but we're going to need it, hopefully not for electric vehicles. I think that's a thing. I really do think. Sorry, Elon, you got to start moving that money over. I think that's going nowhere. I think the electric vehicles are going nowhere. Americans do not want to have to fill their gas tanks every 40 miles. You know, it really doesn't work. And yeah, I know. Yeah, you wanted to try the tanks that you can't fight a war and stop for, you know, like we have to recharge the cameras. You can't say, okay, 3 hours of battle, and then both sides will get to recharge, 2 hours of recharging time. Now, the Biden administration would have loved that. And all the Islamic terrorists would have loved that against Israel, because that's what they were trying to do. But I don't think Israel would have liked that. So another good idea right out of I mean, 2 absolutely great ideas, probably 10 in one day. America controls Gaza. Good, cry. Number 2, Ukraine has got to basically compensate us for the money we give them. Give us minerals. We need them. It'll be like a bridge to when we'll be able to produce them. Because as soon as he gets to lift the environmental bullshit that stops the extrication of the minerals, most people think we have more of it than any place in the world. One guy wrote an article a couple of weeks ago that used to keep saying, oh, we don't have these minerals. We don't have these minerals. Big lie. We got them all. They just don't want to. I don't know what it does to global warming to get minerals out of the earth. I really don't. Well, yeah, it probably makes it a little warmer. Oh, we may lose some form of useless fish. I mean, look, we lost dinosaurs. We got every once in a while something goes extinct.
But if we don't do it, other countries are going to do it, and pollution knows no boundaries.
Gee, that's too logical. Get out of here. So notice we're halting funds to every one of the UN agencies that not only that opposes Israel, they also oppose us. I mean, we haven't had a vote in our favor in the UN, I don't know, since they let Israel in. The agency is like an enemy. So now they're looking at making UNRWA a terrorist group. They should make USAID a terrorist group. And I think the whole UN should be declared a terrorist group and thrown out. I have no idea what good it does for us to be part of the UN. They could bring Stefanik back and do something useful. When has the UN ever done anything useful? It's a great haven for terrorists. Their agencies were fighting and killing the Israelis. The U.S. also another idea. Trump wants to establish a sovereign wealth fund. So really, first one that really was enormously successful was Singapore. Singapore developed, and Singapore is sort of the model sovereign wealth fund. Temasek is the name of it, and they have been part of a lot of the great. They've been part of a lot of the great high tech inventions as well. But this would be a perfect way for us to kind of unify, but still keep it free market. Our competition with China over AI, over quantum computing, and over high tech in general. And as Gordon Chang makes clear at any time he can, the war against China is not just a war about arms and soldiers. It's a war about who controls AI, who controls the fastest computers. If ours are faster and better than theirs, we'll be able to undermine most of their military systems because they're all controlled by computers. So we could spend billions on the Star Wars or the best whatever you want to call it, Iron Dome or Iron Sling or Trump's long arm. If you've got better AI than we do, and you've got much better, faster computers than we do, they can get into it and basically turn it around against you. So you got to keep on top of both. Now, it's not just a military battle in terms of expenses, and as Gorbachev said, Reagan spent us into submission. Now you got to spend them into submission on arms and on technology. And there's no doubt that from the very beginning, Trump has seen that, going right back to that original investment in AI for cancer research. Now you see plenty more, bringing plenty more people to the table. And this idea of a sovereign wealth fund, although it wasn't featured as the only idea, you can see that's at the core of it. Because we can't just we want to rely on our free market system because it works better than any other with competition. We don't want to control it, but we want to be able to direct it a little bit. And I think a sovereign wealth fund in Singapore did nothing to destroy free market. Anything, it increased it, but it created a great weight for investments from a little country like Singapore. Singapore became the biggest investor in Asia for a while. I mean, China eventually overtook it, and it kept it free of China, and it kept it free of the northern part of Asia that always wanted to take over Singapore. The president also signed an executive order. Don't know if this is really an executive order, a kind of proclamation that he is going to support school choice. And boy, it comes at almost. It comes at the last hour. The last group of scores showed that America paid a much bigger price for the pandemic than we thought we did. And of course, my old city and state paid one of the biggest prices because it has one of the most communist teachers union. Some of the comparisons are fascinating. The Democratic location, school systems with the strongest teachers unions had the biggest decline. Now, why is that? They had the longest closures. You can, when the teachers union and their lying communist who runs it says they had nothing to do with the closures, go take a look at where the closures were the longest. The closures were the longest where the teachers union dominate. The declines are the longest there. And in New York, I can do a study for you where almost in direct proportion to each other, as school spending has increased, school scores have gone down. School spending is now more than 2 times what it was when I was mayor. And we have gone from one of the best of a weak group of systems back then to now worse than middle of the road. New York, I'm talking about. And California, worse. And if you want to look at the systems that do the worst, they're the systems that are dominated by public schools, and particularly public schools where there is a very strong teachers union and an inability to try things other than their solution. I'll give you an example. In New York, the charter schools are capped. Now, why would the charter schools be capped? The charter schools are much more successful than the public schools because they offer competition to the teachers union. You don't have to be a union teacher to work for a charter school. You do have to be a union teacher to work for the public schools. Now, you need much more evidence than the fact that the charter schools do much better, or that the Catholic schools do much better, or the Jewish schools do much better, or how about homeschooling does better? What's the common denominator here? The teachers union. Read the history of the teachers union, founded by the Communist Party.
Should it be eliminated entirely?
Yes.
Yes, right?
Should be declared illegal. Should be declared. It should be declared. It should be declared a functionary of a foreign power, Red China,
I love it.
because Red China has been focusing on infiltrating our education. I mean, they've even done a better job of infiltrating our higher education. They got students all over the place. They got professors all over the place. They've got Americans that they've turned as communist professors. Look at, they had a presidential and a vice presidential candidate. They elected a president. They were trying to elect a vice president. I mean, they do spend a lot of money on bribing us, but.
It's really unbelievable.
So right now, when we look at tariffs and everybody goes, oh, tariffs are terrible, tariffs are terrible. Do you realize what tariffs have done for us already? Tariffs have gotten rid of Trudeau. They have gotten us 10,000 Mexican troops at the border. They've gotten Mexico. Mexico wasn't even asked to agree to remain in Mexico. We just said it and we're doing it. I don't want to say this too loudly, but I do think we're operating on the other side of the border right now. And Canada was going to, Trudeau was going to fight back, which was very, very unusual because he then went home, took a deep breath, fell apart in a cold sweat, and said, no tariff, please. Okay, we'll put 10,000 on the border. We'll stop them from coming over. We'll have an we'll have a fentanyl strike force. And if we don't, my wife is going to beat me up. He's got China agreeing to what they wouldn't agree to 4 years ago, hoping that's it's going to satisfy him. I don't want to give him any advice, but I don't know if it's a good idea showing Trump weakness. Letitia James now warned local hospitals, catch this, that they'll be in violation of state discrimination laws if they comply with President Trump's executive order aimed at outlawing sex change procedures for minors. So what's she going to do? She's going to try to get that crook and bum, her pal that falsely prosecuted Trump, to now start prosecuting doctors who refuse to chop people's genitals off. I mean, you come into a doctor and you say, I want you to chop my genitals off. Doctor says, I can't. I got a thing here from the president that says I can't do it. And then Letitia James is going to have a good try trying to get a New York City cop to arrest a doctor who won't chop genitals off for a 13-year-old. Now, Letitia James, you're out of your effing mind. You have been from the day you got up during Bloomberg's first inauguration and humiliated, not Bloomberg, right, it was de Blasio, not Adams. De Blasio's inauguration, and gave your own inauguration speech insulting Bloomberg. Now, Bloomberg isn't me, because I'd have walked out on you. I'd have gotten up and walked out on you and say, what do we listen to this useless, uneducated idiot for? Goodbye. But he sat there and let you shit all over him. At that point, everyone knew. They even wrote an editorial about how horrible you are. That was until you revived yourself by doing something that's completely unethical, if not illegal, which is running for attorney general on the singular platform of getting Trump for a crime that you had to invent because he didn't have one, which is a pure communist technique, by the way. Now you're telling doctors if they comply with a federal directive on immigration, you can put them in jail. We should really check if she ever really went to law school. You ever hear the supremacy clause? Maybe she made believe she went to law school or something. Well, that's going to be an interesting confrontation. I think that one's going to go the way of the mayor of Denver, who said, I'm going to stand on the city walls and not allow immigration to come in and take these people. No, I didn't say that. No, Tom Homan, no, don't take me, please, no. Take all the illegals. I got more illegals right down there. I've been hiding them. I'll rat them out. Don't worry. Just in case you think it's completely ended, Jefferson Ubia Delgado from Venezuela and Gaidawoon. Why these guys have names you can't pronounce? It's just done to be vicious. Gaidawoon. Ever hear of somebody named first name Gaidawoon? Gaidawoon Bello Morales from Ecuador. So now we got a two-nation illegal robbed and killed George Levin in Chicago. Please, I thought we had lost this description. They're undocumented immigrants. Yeah, undocumented. Surveillance video captured the suspect leaving their apartment that night with Bello Morales holding a roll of duct tape. They made the guy hold his own duct tape. Soon after, they were at the home Levin shared with a 65-year-old sister who reported hearing loud noises from his downstairs apartment. When she checked on her brother, she ran into Bello Morales and asked him, "Is my brother okay?" Bello Morales told her everything was fine, that her brother would call her soon. 2 hours later, when she went to check on her brother, she found both the door to his bedroom, both his home and his door to his bedroom locked. After breaking in, she found Levin partially clothed, tied up, and gagged. According to his sister, he was cold to the touch when she found him. Other surveillance footage later captured Bello Morales and Ubila Delgado trying to use Levin's cards and phone to make purchases at a vape shop at a gas station. Bello Morales had been wearing a Department of Homeland Security ankle monitor at the time of the killing, following a January 12 arrest for allegedly trying to lure a 12-year-old to his car. Now, what the hell was he doing out? And we don't need, and Chicago, they're protesting, going after the illegal aliens. These guys, I mean, this is just an example. They're now using drones. The cartels are using drones, and the illegals are using drones to try to locate and kill the Border Patrol agents. That's going to cause a war on the border. It is. Sooner the better, and you know who'll win the war. My favorite governor. Who did I say during the 2022 cycle was the worst and most incompetent governor in America? Governor Murphy of New Jersey. Governor Murphy said that he and his wife, Tammy, had opened their home to a female migrant and challenged the feds to do anything about it. Now the feds are going to subpoena him, and they're saying he wasn't telling the truth. Yeah. It really wasn't a female migrant. It was a friend or a. Yeah. Now they're backtracking and lying, and
she's probably been working for him for decades. Already.
I'm sorry, don't give up on this. Yeah. Let's find out who this is. Might even be a better story than we know. Yeah. Because he's just a total liar. He's the one. He's worse than Cuomo. He got the old people killed in the nursing homes, and he was Cuomo got arguable warnings that you could understand or you might not understand. This guy was told directly he's going to get people killed. He just went ahead and did it. And nothing new on the plane crashes, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they say these investigations.
But what do we have on the plane crash? Anything new or just the same?
All the bodies, I heard.
Yeah, well, that's good. Anything?
Yeah, a lot of times they say this takes months to get a full investigation complete. But Secretary Sean Duffy has received is hard at work, and he is the U.S. Department of Transportation is fully in support of NTSB's work, and he will continue to share updates as he receives them.
That seems like the usual BS.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah.
Which means they have nothing.
They got two to work on.
What?
They have two to work on.
Yeah, but they're not the most. Neither one of the most complicated. I mean, my goodness, I think of Flight 800 in the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, the North Atlantic, hundreds of people dead. The plane just fell out of the air. Was it shot by a missile? Did the wing fall off? Did the plane fall apart?
We know in the Philadelphia crash, it was a young girl who was receiving care for a pressure sore that she had from her spina bifida condition.
Oh, the girl that died.
So she had numerous health challenges. She was very frail.
Yeah, and they had
home.
Treated her for 3 months with her mom, and she was going back home. They thought it would be better if she
didn't have a lot of time to live.
Yeah, but they thought she'd be better off, more comfortable and more peaceful in her home.
Bringing her home to live out the
And
rest
her
of
mother
her
had
life.
been dedicated and with her day in and day out.
Never left her
for
side.
3 months. And when she left Children's Shriners Hospital, they gave her like a going away party, if you want to call it that. And they all loved her. She was like a beloved child there. And the mother was beloved for being such a good mother. I mean, this is just a human tragedy of the worst dimension. And the plane went up and came down. I mean, that one, unless we find out something else, I mean, from the surface, it sounds like some tragic failure. The plane goes up and comes right down.
Yeah.
Right.
They had a shot of where the plane must have hit right directly into the ground. It made a bashing pothole right in the ground.
It did a tremendous amount of damage. And the deaths there were deaths on the ground, right?
Right. As of now, so the NTSB has wrapped up its on-site phase of the investigation. They still have
That's Philadelphia.
Yep. They still have not said what the cause of the crash was.
They probably don't know yet.
In the DC crash, all 67 victims killed in the collision, both on the helicopter and in the plane, have been recovered from the Potomac River. This announcement coming 5 hours ago.
This one is, I think, more troublesome because there are lots of human error problems involved with it. Possible human error problems by the pilot of the helicopter, by the air traffic controller. We haven't heard much in terms of if the airplane had any opportunity to escape, nor have we heard if the air traffic controller communicated with the airplane. You would think, I think, unless I'm missing something, if you're telling the helicopter to get out of the way of the airplane, you're telling the airplane to get out of the way of the helicopter, right?
Right.
And how logical is the explanation that the helicopter pilot could have confused the two airplanes? Because at least what has been released to us, it doesn't look like that's a plausible explanation. The other airplane was quite a bit out of sight. I mean, it's sort of in the corner of your eye, whereas the other one's right in front of you.
Yeah.
And now there could be a lot of explanations for that, like it was cloudy but none have been given. I don't know if they realize that although they don't have to give the definitive facts, and they can always give the facts as this is what's available to us now. By doing this, they create the conspiracy theories. This is what creates the lack of answers to relevant questions that can be answered without giving away anything is what helps to create the conspiracy theories. I mean,
they're now moving on taking the wreckage out of the water. All bodies have been removed. They're still in the process of taking the wreckage. Big pieces of the airframe are being removed by
like, for example, there should be an answer to the question. Now, what was the helicopter doing there? What was the helicopter on a training mission doing in the middle of the most crowded airspace in the United States, with the most crowded runway? Why was it there? I mean, is there an explanation for that? Was that a mistake? Was it part of the training? I mean, if it's part of the training, we generally don't use passengers for military training.
I do believe that the training was a simulated attack on the Capitol. That has been released.
Well, when you do that, you set one up. I mean, you put up military aircraft and do a simulated attack, close down the airspace. I've participated in a lot of simulated attacks and tabletops. I never remember using human guinea pigs though, as part of it. People are all government assigned to play their role. So you want to do a simulated attack on Washington, you put up military aircraft one are the enemy, one are American. You don't use an American airline
Right.
as a simulated enemy, right?
Right.
I hope. And that's why the questions are that one has an answer already. The military knows why it did that. The military knows it did it or it didn't do it. In other words, they know that it was supposed to go there, maybe for some reason that isn't a particularly good reason right now. Better to answer it than to leave speculations. Or it knows they made a mistake and went there. It's eventually going to come out. You're not helping anybody by holding it back. But that's only my opinion from having run numerous emergencies and never ever with this kind of problem. Well, tomorrow I am hoping we move ahead some of these confirmations. I hope I'm wrong that they've put Kennedy off until next week because they can do a great deal of dishonest work between now and then, which is the only work Democrats ever do in a situation like this. I hope they just turn down a Kash Patel second silly show. First of all, I don't really care because he'll kick the living daylights out of them. I mean, if one thing that was proven was if you add up the entire IQ of the committee, Kash Patel's smarter. Take out the Republicans. Schiff is getting killed. Schiff insists on being the major questioner in all these hearings. He seems to show up at every one of them. And of all the Democrats, he's the biggest liar. There's a reason they do that. They have him doing it.
Sacrificial lamb.
They just want to look incredible.
Right.
Well, tomorrow night we'll start a little discussion of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I want to make sure that we have some disagreement about this. Everybody's saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. I will be very angry. And I'll display my anger by pouting. Okay?
We'll have some,
all right.
Yeah, nuanced opinions on the Super Bowl.
I'm going to reclaim my former loyalties to New York in order to root for the only football team in New York.
Right. That's true.
Now, you think about that because a lot of you don't know that the New York Giants and the New York Jets play in New Jersey. And also, I can't believe that President Trump can do any more than he's doing. I really feel like he needs a rest. Poor guy. So I saw him the other day, and I would say he looked, don't get angry, President. You look a little tired, which is from a friend. Get a rest, a little rest. Boy, you can get rid of the other 45,000 agencies tomorrow and the next 2 million regulations. I mean, it's only 2 million to go. You're doing a great job. And seeing him and Bibi together as one for a guy who loves America and loves Israel. Wow. That was one of the better of many great sights in the last couple of weeks. Seeing them on the same page, it also made me feel very confident we can't lose. You got two heroes there and two patriots. And Bibi loves America too. Don't forget that. He was educated here. Well, pray for the people of Israel. Lots at stake. Pray for the people of Ukraine who you may think are being avoided, but a lot's being done to try to get that resolved. And pray for the people of Iran, because I really think their liberation is a lot closer than most think. And people of America really should pray to God to thank him for helping us, giving us the strength to make the right choice, because look how it's redounding to our benefit. And of course, God bless America. The Son of the Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and Pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. Sean is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to